So No Man's Sky, major update just released a couple days ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were playing quite a lot of it yesterday and last night. Tell us about it. What are the major features that it does? And overall, I kind of want to know if it makes the game better than it was released.
I'll have to get to that later because I have a hard time kind of coming to that conclusion. I definitely think it is it is what it is. It's a cool name because it definitely laid some groundwork and it made it easier for me to actually see, if they, and I hope they continue to improve this game. You can kind of see where they're going. But essentially, yeah, it starts off, and I think it caters to how a lot of people got frustrated with the game was it just feels we talked about open world, games where it's just getting repetitive, and I'm not seeing enough diversity in these planets that's worthwhile. So you have 3 different game modes, right? You have your normal one, so your save is unaffected. And then you have creative, I'll get to that, and then survival. So it's almost as far as time length goes, long play, short play, and normal mode. But you get base building, which is where the game was lacking. Was I feel direction in some form where it was I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing at some point. You get to a point, you kind of hit Atlas if you chose that path, and then it's I don't know what I'm supposed to be making. There were times on a planet where it's what was I doing? I forget, and it's hard to pull up just that waypoint. Yeah. And so the game basically lets you create your own base. You then bring in a specialist. So the game implements more NPC aliens on space stations. So I go up, I grab one of these guys, and I say, work for me in my base. And then he starts basically giving me almost side quests that are directing me towards, which is I think the heart of the game, or lack thereof, is just basically technology and like a Minecraft game. You're just building and crafting. So he's just giving me those, and he's saying, you need a weapon specialist. So now I'm building basically a little society in my own base, as well as that first guy is still also giving me new materials to use. So now I can, opposed to the prefab circular buildings, I can now kind of go out and do whatever I want with blocks, and I can make towers, and I can do all these things. So that's pretty cool. I think that's very Minecraft, and almost reminds me of Factorio in a good way, where it gives more drive to be effective and be efficient, and it's more clearly laid out.
It almost reminds me of Fallout 4 as well. I didn't use the base building in Fallout 4 as much, and they introduced it in Skyrim too with I forget what the DLC was called. You could build a house. I feel like it's meant to root people more in this universe, because after a while, with infinite planets, how do you get attached to any one?
Right.
You build a base on it, right? A home to return to. Did you feel that now? Do you actually kind of like going back here and stuff? Is this the new drive for you to play this game?
Yeah, I think I'll play some more of it, because I haven't really come to, I would say, I'm afraid of coming to that burnout phase, but I see longevity because, I mentioned the base building. You can then get a freighter, and these actually I think are the coolest.
Right,
they're the coolest part of the game that gives me that spectacle back, or adds spectacle to this game, where eventually you amount to I think the cheapest one is $7 million that I saw for a freighter. I can then land my smaller craft on the freighter and offload supplies, and essentially the idea being okay, this is, instead of me, if I'm doing trade routes, I'm trying to get into the marketplace in a different solar system, I can make a base there and come back to that, go to a different solar system, get a commodity, just offload tons of stuff onto my freighter, which you can also customize to degree your base, put storage units in there. I can get, there's also I'll get to later, but yeah, you basically can just offload more and more items onto these freighters, and then just overhaul tons and tons of stuff. And that's neat, and it's a cool spectacle to just be on any planet, any place, and just hit this hologram of where do you want your freighter to go, and it just warps in, and you can just go up to it and just I don't know, diving down off of it into a planet gave me these vibes of Aliens when they first do that drop, or even Call of Duty, because that's my favorite part of the game, I think, for sure, is entering a planet is just
it's dramatic.
It's so dramatic.
Yeah.
And even leaving, it hits the synth music, it brings back that, and I that was what I first really liked about the game. But one more side note of like another really big one is like more quality of life stuff. Sure. So you have like you're not looking at a menu nearly as often, which is like, oh man, my launch pads need plutonium. All right, great, I got to go in this menu. You can do that real quickly with this new kind of hot menu thing, where it's just like bam, 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 you just throw it in. And the other thing is, which is really big, is say I land on a planet and I can't find shit because it's just barren. They give you basically like the ability to throw down a device that will save the game, another one that will basically beam out and search for those quests. You know, may they be find abundance of resource or a colonial outpost or etc. So it's just quality of life raised. Like you just can find things easier.
To go back to the bases quick, you might have said this, so correct me, but can you just build these anywhere you want on any planet?
So that's why you have this device. Perfect timing here is you set this up, and then one of the options is find me a habitable base.
Okay.
And then that's where I can basically go in and it's like, do you want to set up camp here and make this your home world?
Okay.
And I have that option. And then that links to any kind of space station. So I could go as far as I want, like in the solar system or galaxy, and then always be able to come back to that base.
But once you establish that base, it stays there. You can't have more than one of those bases. Unless you're in a different playthrough.
I think...
Or is that even made clear yet?
I don't know. I haven't been able to do multiple bases, but freighters, you can only have one.
Okay.
Just like I think it's very similar to your spaceship. I think you just kind of wipe whatever you had before. However, everything you had as far as items will be transferred over, so you're not really like at loss other than like whatever time you spend into the structure.
Okay. So overall, I mean, you played No Man's Sky when it released. Pete, you played a lot too. You reviewed it. But Rob,
that's right.
But Rob, do you think this improves? It sounds like this improves the game overall. Is it worth returning to now? Like, I guess that's like a pretty subjective question, but does this make you personally want to return to it a lot more? Are you going to be playing a lot tonight or no?
Personally, it does make me want to play some more of it. But I think it's not quite there yet. I'd like to see more things, like having thought about the freighter. Like the freighter's so cool. It's like, I think it's a really cool idea. Yet, you get attacked by space pirates. I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe I can send in this freighter, which I know has guns on it, and I warp him in, and he doesn't do anything. Like, It'd be cool to have that fleet, or like build up in that respect, like a fleet, because when you first pick the freighter, he is in like a whole group of like other ships. It would be really cool, to basically have these huge, like war space battles, right? Like just like bombarding other ships, like huge conflicts in space. There's not enough of that. I think that could be like what would drive me in, and it would make me want to like upgrade my ship or a crew or whatever it is. I don't know.
I do feel like that's the next step.
I think they can do it. Yeah.
Josh Shaw in the Twitch chat was saying, shouldn't this be focused on building ships? I wonder if that is like a step down the road. I know they touched on it.
I think they hinted at that, or someone found, I think, some file in the actual game of that, I believe.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, having these bases that you can build on a planet kind of roots you in one and makes you like care about that planet more, whereas building a new ship, you could take that wherever you go, and that like seems to be the draw of this game, the spectacle of discovering new star systems, new galaxies, new planets and whatnot. I feel like I'd rather build a ship that I can take with me. I mean, like obviously the freighters you can, but like in terms of the one I'm flying, I would like to try out. Pete, do you see yourself? You like this game? You enjoyed it? You think you gave it a 7?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself returning to this at all?
No.
Just you've had it, your fill of No Man's Sky?
No, so all these things that you're describing, like they sound great, and they sound like things that I would love to have had access to when the game came out, right?
Totally. That's how I feel.
When I was first playing, my mentality was follow Atlas, because I found that path to be fulfilling from like a narrative perspective, right? Like the things I was working towards a conclusion of my own story. Well, if my story that I'm making now is just to build things for myself to marvel at, that's too shallow for me. Just because I don't get a lot out of, I think, just base building just for the sake of it, right? Like even in Fallout 4, even though you had people like NPCs that were walking around that would change as you did that, I didn't really get what the ultimate goal was. Like, how was I rewarded? Was it just the creativity behind it? It kind of seemed to be the case, and that may be true here as well. I need some greater purpose for all of this stuff. I need to feel like what I'm doing has meaning beyond just I can do this now and look what I made.
Yeah, you can introduce as many features as you want, but at one point, are they still cohesive with like the overall meaning of the game?
Yeah, and like, what are the challenges involved with building, right? Like, sure, there are time and endurance-based challenges where you need to get enough resources to do the thing, but are there intellectual challenges therein? Like, do things become more difficult to build or manage, or are you literally just scaling up and making things bigger because you have more of the stuff that you need to do that? If that's all it is, then yeah, I don't have it in me to go back. I still cherish the first, 60, 70 hours I spent with that game. But beyond that, I think I don't know that this update will bring me in again.
Sure. Yeah.
I would just tap on that. Like, yeah, I totally agree. And like, I'm still kind of in that spectacle phase of just like, this is still pretty cool looking. I'm like getting these huge freighters, space battles. Like, I wish I could see more of. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is how the first play I had with that game ended. And like even last night, playing till I was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm like, wait, what am I doing actually right now?
Right.
And then when that hit me, I was like, I've seen this. And so you know what it always is though? It's when I see like the goddamn same freaking plant. When I see that plant, I've seen him. I've seen him on every planet. When I see him, I'm out. That's it. You liar.
Dumb animal. No,
how is this plant on every planet? Get out of here, plant,
We found
Sorry,
the thing
I have
set
no
him off.
sleep in me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, you've been playing too much No Man's Sky, but you're going to play a little
Go
more.
play some more.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is No Man's Sky. Newest update is live now on all platforms. You can play that. PS4, PC.
It's all the way live.
Yeah. Cool. So let us know if you plan on returning No Man's Sky now that this update is out.